Mr. Hook, hello and thank you for joining us. So can you explain us, please, what is the current situation in Donbas according to last OSCE reports?
Thank you for your interest. The OSCE Special Monitoring Mission continues to register three-digit numbers of ceasefire violations along the contact line. They mainly concentrate around and in known hotspots. Most of these hotspots are in the Donetsk region, with a few exceptions, but also in the Luhansk region. We also see the use of heavy weapons. These are the weapons that should have been long withdrawn, namely mortars, artillery, but also multiple launch rocket systems. We also see these weapons placed in areas where they should not be, and we continue to register the suffering of the civilian population on both sides of the contact line, with people on a regular basis getting injured or killed. And the two main causes are that of rounds that produce shrapnel. Again, these are the heavy weapons that should have been removed, but also, and increasingly so now over the summer, civilians that get injured by unexploded ordnance or mines.
Mr. Hook, and also U.S. Special Counsel Kurt Volker was talking about that something is interrupting OSCE mission in Ukraine. Do you see any problems, any things that interfere, that interrupt your work?
The Special Monitoring Mission on a regular basis reports interference with its freedom of movement. This happens on both sides of the contact line. However, more active interference we do register in areas not controlled by the government, and more recently so, specifically in the areas of the southern Donetsk region not controlled by the government, in locations such as Sakhanka, Pikuzi, Helmanove, Novozovsk or Siedove, just to mention a few. This is the southern part of that about 30-kilometer wide strip of the southern Donetsk region, reaching down to the Azov Sea, not controlled by the government, where we have been repeatedly stopped and not let be done our job in that specific area.
And talking about the security of the mission, are there any problems?
The civilian monitors of the Special Monitoring Mission, as any other civilians at the contact line, are exposed to the risks that the sites produce, and they mainly rely to the use of heavy weapons and that of small arms and mines. We try to protect our staff with proper equipment and training. We can, however, not mitigate all risks. Only the sites can do that, and only the sites are responsible to protect the civilians, including our civilian monitors.
Mr. Hook, the latest report on August 8 informs that OSCE mission noticed trucks coming from Russian Federation to Ukraine. Can you tell us more details about that?
Indeed, one of our long-range UAV did follow a convoy that was leading in that southern part of the Donetsk region, not controlled by the government, on a hard surface road, then taking off on a dirt road, moving towards the border between Ukraine and the Russian Federation, exiting Ukraine, and at the same time we have seen another convoy consisting also of trucks entering Ukraine. They then crossed these two convoys. That movement happened in the middle of the night, and as described in our daily report, was highly coordinated for both convoys.
And can you tell us more? Do you have any additional information what these trucks could be carrying then, and is there any threat?
The Special Monitoring Mission, as you know, will not speculate. We have in detail described what we have seen. The footage speaks for itself. The readers of our reports may conclude we are mandated to establish facts, and those have been presented in that report, and we will continue to do so, provided, of course, that the sites enable us to do our job on the ground.
And Mr. Hook, since OSCE mission works in Ukraine, is it an ordinary situation that trucks are coming from Russian Federation to Ukraine, or it's something that didn't happen for a long time?
As you know, this crossing of the border there was in an area where there is no official border crossing point. We have previously seen tracks leading to the border between Ukraine and the Russian Federation where there are no border crossings. We have also seen improvised camps near the unsecure border there where there is no official crossing. This time on the 7th of August, there in the middle of the night, in an area where there is no official border crossing, we have now seen trucks, which is what we have not seen before.
And after this situation, have the situation in Donbas changed? It was on the 8th of August, now it is 11th. Have there been any escalation?
Well, we continue to register the numbers, three-digit numbers of ceasefire violations at the contact line in approximately the same level. They're still unacceptably high. The freedom of movement restrictions that we are exposed by continue. They, as mentioned before, occur on both sides, but more actively so in the southern part of the Donetsk region down to the Azov Sea in an area not controlled by the government. And that coincides with the route that these two convoys took in that night on 7th of August.